Hello, good morning. At least it's good morning here. This is Basque Country, northern Spain. It's Monday. It's raining, so I'm here in the house on the couch. Decided I would give a kind of a different report this week, and so I don't know when you're going to watch it. So good day to you. Well, yesterday again, the auditorium was packed to the gills. The Lord is doing so much, bringing so many people, so many visitors. We can hardly shake the hands of all of them and get their names and forget the names immediately. You know, there's just so many people and so much need. As people are coming, they're coming looking for solutions, looking for the Lord, and it's quite a challenge. Yesterday I noticed that in the very back of the auditorium they're pulling out our old chairs because we have 132 nice chairs, but they were pulling out other stuff and people were backed all the way to the back wall. So I don't know how it sounds from back there. Hopefully our sound system works well, but anyway, they're coming. A lot of people are coming. Of course, our core people are there. And so if you're praying for us and asking God to bless, all I can say is there's almost too much ministry to know how to handle. Just so many people, so much need. And so we're praying to the Lord for wisdom and guidance. And so thank you for helping us in that area. So what I thought I would do today is a little different than usual, and that is I'd like to share with you what I preached yesterday at our service for our believers. I'm in the middle of a series on administering well His things, and it's on stewardship. Haven't done a series of messages on that in many years, and it was time to do it. So I'm on that. This was number 8, and the title was "You Are a Citizen of Heaven." And I thought I'm going to share just a summary as best I can with those of you who pray for us and follow us, and maybe it'll be a blessing to you as it was to me, and I think it was to those who heard yesterday. So, sorry, I just got a call here. I meant to turn the Do Not Disturb for 1 hour on, and I forgot. So, hang on, let me take care of this. Here. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so I decided I would use a Bible, of course an English Bible, which I don't use there at church, but I picked up this old maroon kind of color, and some of you will maybe recognize the kind of Bible it is. This Bible, I notice, is 41 years old. And I used it through college, the university there. It's a Thompson chain reference. Many of you will be familiar with it. Maybe younger people may not even know what it is. But it was a big deal back in the early 80s. It's interesting because I forgot how I got it. It says, presented to Andrew Bonikowski upon his graduation from the Hans Zerger family, 4th of July, 1981. So that would be 44 years ago. The reason that's significant is, I grew up here on the mission fields, and MK, like Mimi, we were both MKs here in Spain, and so I had even less than her. She went back for her senior year. I didn't even do that. It was all homeschooled, and sometimes we would be back for a couple of years in the 70s. And so I didn't really have a graduating class. I didn't have a graduation that I remember. We might have celebrated as a family, but I don't remember anything else. So when we went home for furlough in 80, why would that be 81? I don't know. Okay, that's when I would have gone, about July, I went to college in 80, it would have been 81. Yeah, 81. So we were traveling in Canada in Manitoba, where my parents are from, and we went to the church that they grew up in, and the pastor there heard that I had just graduated, and he gave me or his family gave me this Bible, which I used for many years, and you can see how marked up it is. It's just like, wow, I must have used it for a long time. I don't remember. But, it's a Thompson chain, so it has all the reference notes, and it's big. But anyway, that a long way to tell you why I'm using this Bible. But so I'm at Hebrews, and I started the message yesterday, actually reading Hebrews 11:5 on Enoch, and said that he was translated, that he should not see death, and he was not found because God translated him, for before his translation he had this testimony. And I point out the fact there are three verbs there, three times the word translated comes up, and the question, the big $1 million question is, Enoch was translated to where? He was changed from one place to another. What was the place he went to? Well, it doesn't say there. So then I took everyone to Genesis 5, and in Genesis 5, around 24, it says, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not. Now in Spanish it says he disappeared. He disappeared. And so I said, well, if he disappeared, if it stopped right there, if the verse stopped right there, it would be like, what? He vaporized. But it doesn't stop there. It says, and he was not, for God took him. And so the second $1 million question is, okay, so God took him. Where did he take him? Where did he take him? And so that was sort of the introduction to the message on, you are a citizen of heaven. So we went to Abraham here in Hebrews 11. I don't even know if I said where I was. Hebrews 11, verse 8. By faith Abraham went when he was called to go out into the place which he should have after received for an inheritance obeyed. And he went out, not knowing whither he went. Where did he go? What was his goal? Well, everyone there, yesterday, we know that Abraham was in Ur, and he went to the promised land. Now, it took him quite a while to get there. But God promised him, and had that magnificent triple promise there in Genesis 12, that all that he would give him, and one of them was the promised land. And so in verse 5 it says, by faith he sojourned in the land of promise. So he gets to his promised land, and you would think, wow, now it's time to build a ranch, build a house, build a palace. God has blessed him with all kinds of goods. Make yourself now a wonderful place to live. But it says, by faith he sojourned in the land of promise as in a strange country. As a foreigner, dwelling in tabernacles. In Spanish, it literally says, dwelling in tents, with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. And I said, what's going on here? Abraham receives the fulfillment of his promise, and he has this land of the promised land, the land of Canaan, and instead of building himself a nice home, he lives in tents. And not only him, but his sons and grandson as well. And so I said, what's going on here? Why is Abraham living this way? He had every right. It was his land. It was given to him. It had every right in the world to settle down and make himself a permanent, why not, a permanent mansion that in the place that God had given him. But it says that he lived in tents, 10, for he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is God. And so we see that Abraham, he arrived in the promised land, but he wasn't looking to the promised land. His eyes, his heart was looking way beyond the promised land. Wow, what an unusual faith Abraham had. Then it talks about Sarah, and Sarah is linked in really with the same thing as she has the child way past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, as many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable. And so Sarah, her promise is for that child, but she understands that it's not just the child. As Abraham, it wasn't just the land. It was way more than the land that he was promised. And in her case, it was way more than just Isaac that she was promised and that she received, and she saw that. It was that through Isaac, the entire nation of Israel, the Word of God, the Messiah, all the blessings that would go out to humanity and redemption through that child. But it was way more than just the child. Her eyes and Abram's eyes were on a horizon way out into the future. In fact, it says that, verse 13, these all died in faith. Obviously not Abraham and Sarah alone, all the other ones, Enoch included. These all died in faith, not having received the promises. What do you mean? Not having received that? They did. Oh, but they didn't. They received in part. But it was way more than that immediate fulfillment. And I pointed out to them, we have people at church that have been believers for years. We have others that have been very young in the Lord. And they said, when you were saved, I mean, what were you saved? What was the promise of your salvation? Just all of a sudden your problems would be taken care of, life would be easier, you would get a job, your sicknesses would go away, everything would be smooth riding from then on because you're saved. No, somebody told you that. They did you a poor favor. No, we were saved, and it's true that we receive blessings on the front end of things as Christians. There are many blessings in the Christian life, but our eyes are not on this world. So what are we investing in? What are we, all of the resources that God has given us, the money, the things that we have, the talent, eyesight, hearing, healthy bodies, whatever, all of the many things that God has given me as an individual to manage, administer, well, His things is the title of the series. What God has given me, what am I investing it in? Am I investing it in building a mansion in the Promised Land? Is that what I'm focused on? Well, Abraham gave us a fantastic example of how to live. And it's so important for us who live in the wealthy West, the Western culture, where there are so many things, and you can invest and you can improve your house, your car, your watch, your computer, your vacations, you can do so much investing in the immediate blessings of life and completely ignore the real promise, which is of our heavenly inheritance. But it says, they all died having seen them afar off. What? The promises. Not the immediate thing, but what was coming. Their eyes were on the future. In a sense, you would say, for us it would be the future, but their eyes were on eternity. And I said, do you know believers who are like that? And everybody does. We all know people who, you can tell they're on their way through. They're pilgrims. We have here the famous Santiago trail that goes from Italy all the way to western Spain. And people come from the States. There are thousands upon thousands of people from all over the world that come and walk the paths that supposedly James did. And they come, and all they have, we see them walking around. All they have is a backpack. It may be a big one, but they didn't bring the kitchen sink and the stove and the bathroom. And no. They have just the essentials. They're pilgrims. And it says here, but having seen them afar off and were persuaded of them and embraced them and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. And I challenge our people, where are you investing your resources in? The resources that God has allowed you to have. Some of you have more, some of you have almost nothing, but everyone has resources, even if it's just good health and strength. There are resources that God has given us. Are we investing them in the now? Or are we sending them on to heaven, so to speak, as our series has been dealing with? In 14 and 15, it talks about their ability to, they could have turned around at any point and said, I'm tired with this, I'm going back. But they didn't. Verse 16, but now they desire a better country, better than that immediate fulfillment, which is good, there's blessings, but it's not the end, it's not the final inheritance. That is an heavenly one. Wherefore God is not ashamed, he's proud of them, in a sense, to be called their God, for he hath prepared for them a city. And Abraham gave us such a wonderful example of how to live. Not investing everything he had, God had blessed him with in the now. No. He dwelt in tents. And he was telling everybody around him and everybody to come for the future generations, you know what? I received the promised land of Canaan, but I understood from God that was not it. There's a lot more to life than this. And I have my eyes set on the heavenly city, the city that God is building. I have my eyes on an eternal inheritance. Wow. How different is the Christian, the believer, who understands this concept. And like I said, we have just a whole bunch of growing believers learning about Christ, learning about the Christian walk, and I can see them as I'm preaching. They're all there with the scriptures, and then we sing the final song, and you can just sense the desire, the obedience, the love for God that the congregation has, and fills the building with resounding song. As everyone for a little while right there together we had our eyes on the heavenly city. And it wasn't so much about getting ahead here and improving our life standard here. Nah, it's more about learning how to invest what God has given us here for there. And that we would see, probably get to heaven, there's going to be a lot of surprises, and we may look around, and I know it's hard to speculate exactly how that's going to be. We'll look around and we'll see someone who at church we thought, man, yeah, he doesn't really know how to manage his resources. He's always poor. He's never got very much at all, and he just doesn't know how to manage his things. And we find out, he sure did know how to manage his things. She was definitely investing her resources, but not in what you could see down here. She was investing it in heaven, in the city that God is preparing. And so what an exciting time we had. And this is a tremendous passage, and I came to a new appreciation of Abraham's faith. Just reading this passage again, getting ready for the service yesterday, and then just enjoying together our worshiping God for his goodness and giving us examples like that of Abraham. So, I don't know where you are, who you are, what you have, what you don't have, but if you know the Lord and he has given you resources, I know he has that, I hope that you are investing them in the eternal inheritance that God is preparing for us, and not just trying to, raise your standard of living and making things more comfortable here. That's not the right way to look at things. And God just knows how to bless those who live like pilgrims, live like strangers in the land God gave him. And so God gives us things, and we have the ability and the liberty to spend it all on us. Spend it all on my things, on what I want, and better this and better that, and improve this and improve that. But that's not the best way to do things. because even all the way from the beginning, Enoch shows us, gave us a good example. And the Lord took him. Where did he take him? Oh, we know very well where he took him. He was translated straight into the presence of God. What a blessing. What a tremendous example. What tremendous truths. As God teaches us to manage well the resources he has given us that are not ours really, they're his. So, please continue to pray. Pray that God will give us wisdom as we continue to train the believers and seek to do the ministry better. There's just so much to do. And there's so many people looking for solutions, needing God, knowing they're empty, and knowing that there are answers. They're coming to church. They're coming to the scriptures to hear the word of God. And so pray that we will see many people come to the Lord and get their lives straightened out and start living in tents like Abraham did. Okay, God bless you. Goodbye.